Hello and welcome back to Mark's House and Garden UK, where today's job is relocating two of these three Trachycarpus Fortunei. I knew they were too close together when I planted them 18 months ago, and I'm changing this whole area into a desert, gravel, arid bed. So this is the perfect opportunity to move two of those three Trachycarpus. So ultimately I want them to be kind of here and another one down there, much more spread apart, so that I can put a path going through the middle of the gravel bed. Now, I'm going to break this down into stages for you and demonstrate what I do whenever I'm moving a small tree or a large shrub. And these principles really are common sense, and they can be applied to any movement of a tree or shrub in the garden. The first thing I did was yesterday, when I gave these three plants and the surrounding earth a really good soaking. They're going to have a shock to the system, so I'm getting them hydrated so that when they are moved and the roots are damaged, when they get into the new hole, their new homes, they will already be quite hydrated. So that's the first thing. And the second thing I'm going to do, and you'll see this happening on your screen because I'll edit it in fast forward, is getting the holes ready. I'm digging and preparing the holes where these are going to in advance. I want them to be out of the ground for as short a time as possible. So in getting the holes ready and prepared, that will expedite the whole process. So dig the holes, get some organic matter in the bottom, get some plant food in the bottom, and get the holes wet and get the surrounding area wet, so that when these plants are moved across and transplanted, it's a smaller disruption and shock to the system. The third thing I've done in advance is get all my tools ready. So let me just run through the tools that I'm using. I've got my long handled Irish spade. It's a great tool, this. You can get leverage, you can dig underneath the earth, and you can use it as a shovel to move earth. So that's the first thing. Incidentally, all the links to these tools, which if you want to buy them, are in the description box below this video. And if you do buy them, I do earn a commission, and your support is greatly appreciated. My small grubbing hoe, one of the most useful tools I think I've ever bought. You can get right in there and you can dig. It's got a nice short, medium length handle. You can get underneath things. So that's my small grubbing hoe. I've also got a large hoe, quite heavy duty, and I'll be using that, you'll see. I'll be hacking away at the earth with that. A rake for levelling off afterwards. Another spade, should I need it, for digging. Quite useful that for slicing through roots. Another thing for slicing through roots is my small loppers. I've already noticed that in here there's quite a few tree roots. Is this lilac? It used to be much bigger than this. I've lopped it down. And the nice thing about lilacs, by the way, is they will grow back from the base. I wish you could smell this. It's wonderful lilac. Absolutely beautiful. Almost too strong. Loppers. Small pick. Gardening gloves, which I've left in the kitchen, but I'll go and get them. And also, quite a tough coat. I won't be wearing this all the time, but when it comes to moving these and manhandling them, I want to protect my arms. Trachycarpus Fortunei. The name is in three parts. Trachy meaning rough trunks, carpus meaning many fruited, it produces lots of seeds. Fortunei is Robert Fortune, who's the plantsman that imported this hundreds of years ago into the UK. I digress. Let's get on with the job. Now, at this point, the holes are prepared, they're watered, they're fertilised, and we now need to start digging. So this is where the fun starts, and you're going to see me digging these two Trachycarpus out of the ground in a segment which is going to be about 10 seconds long. I'll do it in fast forward. I'll see you on the other side. But before I get started, a couple of things. Stay hydrated, just like you've hydrated the plants. And also, very important on a sunny day like this, sunscreen. My stepdad has just had part of his ear removed because of exposure to sun. And in my case, that means on top of my head, my ears, face and arms. Available as a link below this video. I also use Skin So Soft as an insect repellent now. Early in the day, like now, not many insects about, but in the evening that's a boon. Right, let me get digging. I'll see you at the other side of a short fast forward segment when these two Trachycarpus have been released from the ground. So there you go, the job is done. Made easier by the right tools. A few more tips, quite important ones for you now. But just look at this now. This path continues from the front of the cottage and between the Trachycarpus, and it brings a theme of Trachycarpus which starts in the parterre through. So I'm very pleased with the results. Now those tips, when you plant them in order to make sure they're vertical, step away from them. Get a much better idea of verticalness, if that's a word, if you step away in different directions. Water underneath them when you planted them in, and then heel them in. And as you heel them in, create a kind of a ring donut, an indentation around the base. This plant has an interesting habit because its leaves, which are palmate leaves, create a kind of funnel. So as it rains, the water goes to the centre and runs down the trunk. So as it does that, it will land in that ring donut. Keep them very, very well watered for at least the next 6 months until they get re-established. Now these are going to go underneath a gravel bed, so that will be a mulch. So I would suggest that if you're not using gravel, maybe consider putting a mulch on top. That mulch will rot down and feed the roots as this water seeps through. You can see the water is running down into that ring donut. Keep them well watered. I mean, they look like dry arid plants, but whilst they get re-established, they'll need to be watered. I always find things when I'm digging. This time I found a variety of glass jars, and I always find willow pattern crockery when I'm digging in the garden. Whenever I find things like this, it always makes me think. Slightly morbid, I know, but they're all gone now, those people that dropped that in there. Isn't life short? Anyway, wonderful. I've moved my Trachycarpus. Don't forget, all the tools are available in my shop, and if you do buy them through my links, I get paid a commission. The next stage of this arid bed will be to create a brick border around the outside, lay some weed fabric, and then have 2 tons of gravel put on top, at which point I will start planting my arid desert gravel type plants, agaves, succulents and cacti. I'll see you soon for some very hot gardening. Maybe don't do this on a hot sunny day. There's another tip. Bye for now.